feel like I seem pretty gay, so people just expect it. What?
Well, my parents got really upset. They were not excited about it. Coming out to people in college felt more natural. I think because people were more used to it, used to people being queer. One of my favorite reactions that I've gotten coming out was I came out to kind of came out about my gender to my aunt and my cousin, and my aunt's response was, well, yeah, of course, we've always known that. And I'm like, cool, that's really validating, although, I didn't always know that, so.
First and foremost, the question I get most often, which is super annoying, and I'm not going to say I understand it, because I don't really understand it, because straight people don't get that question, and when different things apply to gay people than they do straight people, that always just confuses me. It's just, anyway. So the number one question I get is, how do you know? And I'm like, well, Susan, how did you know you liked boys? That's the most obvious question. That's not my response. That's the most obvious response. And that's never helpful for some reason. They're like, oh, I don't know, I had sex with one. I'm like, no, you didn't, Susan. You had a crush before you had sex on it. But anyway. The answer I would like to give, but can't, because I am almost really the only people, because people my age are often smarter than that, or at least my friends that I choose to actually come out and say, hey, yeah, I'm bisexual. Anyone I don't care about, I'll let them assume. I don't really care how they identify me, or blah 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 blah. Anyway, people my age don't really ask that question. People who really ask this question are my family. People whom I love and adore are very open and supporting of me and my lifestyle and my sexual identity, blah, 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 blah. They always ask me, well, how do you know? Because they're all straight, so they don't get it, even though it's the same exact thing. I don't know. So I can't tell them that, well, sometimes I like to imagine naked ladies, because it's I'm sorry, I'm cursing and getting inappropriate again, but what do you want me to say? How do I know I like women? The same way I knew I liked men. Before I kissed one, before I had dated one. And then it's just, I don't know, ridiculous. Another reaction, this is why I don't like saying I'm bisexual on Tinder and whatever. I have it open for men and women and whatnot, but I don't say it on my profile, because the number 2 question you're gonna get is, do you want to have a threesome? And I'm always like, no thanks. So yeah, those are usually the reactions. Another reaction I've typically gotten is, I already know, which isn't exactly a helpful response. So people, if you're looking to support your friends when they come out, I wouldn't recommend saying that, because this is not even more than likely, it is 100% a big moment for this person. Don't invalidate their strength and their progress by saying, oh, you didn't need to tell me, I already knew, because that's how I felt before I came out to my family, was that I didn't need to tell people, they already know. And it wasn't until I actually came out officially to my family and had this big deal about it, kind of, not that it was a big deal, it was this admittedly small thing, but it felt huge to me. It was this big weight taken off my chest. So don't invalidate someone by saying, you didn't need to tell me, because we almost always need to tell you, I think. In this day and age, non-straight identifying people are not the norm, so it is important that we tell you, and we get that validation, and we gather up that courage to do so.
I think it was when I was in ninth grade with like Legend of Korra. Like, do you know about this show?
I know the name. I don't know about it.
Yeah, that at the end of the series, like, they like revealed that Korra's bi and shit, and she got a girlfriend, so that was like lit. I was like, hey, this is pretty cool. I remember seeing it on Tumblr. I was like, wow, that's pretty nice.
I wouldn't say that I've really seen myself in media. I grew up thinking I was straight. I was filled with this religiously driven homophobia, and I didn't really start questioning my sexuality until I left high school, and I didn't even know that like questioning your gender was a thing you could do until college, or that there were more than just two options for your gender. When I came out to my parents, they didn't kick me out, but they also were not supportive of it. So I don't think that I really fit the usual narrative of what an LGBTQ plus person looks like. I can identify with some things that I see in media, but I think my story is, I don't know if unique is the right word, but I think my story is different.
This is the thing about being bisexual. Representation sucks. There's this thing like bi erasure. I'm sure y'all have heard of it. People don't like to write bisexual people. They don't like to portray bisexual people. They don't like to believe in not even media, but just like people around you don't really like to believe in the existence of bisexual people. For a lot of people, there are some people that think of sexuality as straight, gay. Just these 2 points. It's like a yes and a no. These are the only options. There's some people, slightly better, that think of sexuality as a little bit like a seesaw. Straight, gay, bisexual in the middle. You're one of three. Sexuality is a spectrum which is getting more and more accepted. But even though people will kind of absentmindedly agree to that notion, they still don't. I don't know what it is that people have against bi people. And this is another reason why I started identifying as bisexual, why I started talking about my love for men and women. I don't let people erase my feelings for women, and I don't let people erase my feelings for men, because it's, I don't know. So in media, it's often a joke, like, oh no, I'm not exactly straight, which is, what I said in like when I was like 15 or 16, but I was a kid, I was figuring myself out, like it's not, and then oftentimes, like some bisexual figures are, Ennis from Brokeback Mountain, in pieces like those, it's often hard to tell if someone is bisexual or using a beard. I have not seen Brokeback Mountain in a few years, so I couldn't tell you that. You can skip this part, Jay. But like Call Me By Your Name. 2 bisexual boys, at least Armie Hammer's character, Oliver, is bisexual. Elio is probably still figuring himself out sexually, but he could be bisexual. And yet it's a gay movie. Which, being on the spectrum, being part of the LGBT community, I will go under the umbrella term of gay, but people only think of those characters as gay. They don't recognize them as bisexual because they're with men. And I don't know, it's the same in so many films and movies and TV shows. I was trying to look at, before I came on I was trying to look at solid examples of bisexual people. I think Eleanor Sheltrop from The Good Place. I've only watched season 1, but it's great. She's an excellent example of a bisexual woman. But yeah, as far as like films, we're just, I don't know. erased. You know, if someone is bisexual and is written as or portrayed as being bisexual, the media, the fan base, and gay fan bases are guilty of this too. Like, it's not just straight people that do this. If they see a character if they see a male character that expresses interest in men, even though they've expressed interest in women as well, or they'll latch on to the men, and same with women. They do the same way, and I understand that, trying to like hold on and cling on to images of yourself, but you know, when people try to be like, oh hey, that character is bisexual, they're like, no, he's gay, and they're like, okay. People do this all the time. This was like a very rambly thing, but it's very annoying. And that just leads to more people. Like, this is not an old issue. This is happening all the time. That, I don't know, bi people are erased, and I don't really know what to say about it other than write more bi people. In my writing and in my work, I used to like not make a big deal about that kind of stuff because I didn't want it to get too political and I wanted to reach broader audiences. But after seeing how it is, I don't know, I'm unapologetic. I'm going to make it a point that this character, that I am bisexual, and I won't let you erase any part of their identity for a way that better suits you. But 2018 was 20 gay teen, great, but 2019, 20 bi teen. I'm ready for it. I hope that we have made such strides in gay rights. And I can't say that I hope, acknowledgement and representation of bisexuality is next, because frankly, whatever comes next, I'm 100% down for it, but it needs to happen eventually, and we all need to be an active part of making that happen.
Well, obviously, I hate Trump either way, but I don't know, it makes me feel like not as safe as I was under like the Obama administration, because I knew he had my back. I was like, hey, yo. But like with Trump, he's like spouting off like all this shit, so I'm just like, okay, I don't really agree with like anything that he's doing, like LGBT wise. So
the political climate is stressful for me, mostly because my family very passionately disagrees with a lot of my political views. I tend to get written off as the crazy lib a lot. I think that my family thinks that because I'm queer, and that is somehow morally inferior, that they can then write off everything else that I say or believe, specifically with politics, because I know that their religion and their politics are very intertwined. So I think it's easy for them to kind of write off everything, and in that way my queerness invalidates me.
Shit. I'm not supposed to curse in the same way. The current political climate is garbage, and it's garbage for anyone non-straight, because I don't know, I feel like my sexuality is a reason to fight. I'm not in the political danger that a lot of people are, so I don't know really how much I can say or complain, but that is one thing, that my bisexuality is a reason to fight for representation in my political figures, in my media, in my everyday life, and it's a reason to fight against the oppression of everyone else, because I know oppression, and I don't know the same as lots of other people, or the extent of lots of other people, but I can't just sit back, and I have to acknowledge it because I know it's there, and I feel like my sexuality only makes me that much more aware of it.
Just to be proud of yourself, to be accepting of yourself and others, of anybody who's not a furry.
Pride means feeling comfortable in your own skin and being able to love yourself and then being able to share that love with other people.
Sorry, I don't speak too eloquently. But yeah, I think that is what pride means, is not being apologetic and being willing to fight for being truly represented and for not being erased, and for not just like the acceptance, but the embrace of who we are and our place in this world and how we're not different than anyone else. I don't know.